All right, now to our continuing coverage on climate change. A new report conducted by the International Energy Agency shows carbon dioxide emissions created by humans reached a record high in 2018, climbing for the second year in a row. This is not good because an increased amount of carbon dioxide in the air directly contributes to global warming. That's a fact. You might remember this tweet from the president, who once called carbon dioxide, quote, the main building block of all life. Yikes. Carbon dioxide is a gas produced by the air we exhale and by burning carbon, and in high levels it can be dangerous to your health. Carbon is the formation of life. The Trump administration continues to downplay the United States' role in CO2 emissions. Here's what the EPA administrator said just last week.
We're reducing our CO2. So we are actually meeting our Paris Climate Accord targets better than most of the other industrialized countries. We're doing a lot here in the United States. Our CO2 levels are decreasing. We are reducing CO2. We are taking it seriously. CO2 is going down, and we're trying to address those problems.
Well, for fact's sake, that proved not to be true, particularly in 2018. Let's start at the root of the problem. Global energy consumption grew by 2.3% last year. That is nearly twice the average rate of growth the world has seen in energy consumption since 2010. And as a result, carbon dioxide emissions increased overall by 1.7%. There's just no other way to do this. It's an up arrow. It's going up. Who's responsible for it? That's a good question. The report found that China, India, and, you guessed it, the United States accounted for 85% of the net increase in CO2 emissions. Meanwhile, emissions declined that year in Germany, Japan, Mexico, France, and the United Kingdom. The higher energy demand was driven by two things: a robust global economy, particularly in India and China, where poorer people are coming out of poverty and doing things that cause them to consume more energy, as well as extreme weather conditions that push the need for both heating and cooling. And get this, the United States had the largest increase in oil and gas demand worldwide. Now, it stands to reason because the United States is the largest consumer of oil and gas worldwide, but gas consumption here in the United States jumped 10% from 2017, and that is the fastest increase since 1971. Joining me now, former EPA Administrator Gina McCarthy. Thank you for being with us again. Gina, fossil fuel emissions in the United States have fallen significantly since 2005, and that's a talking point the Trump administration touts, despite the fact that most of that actually happened in the prior administration. But now we're actually seeing reversals in that progress. CO2 emissions going up. What do we have to do about this? How do we get on the same side as Germany, the United Kingdom, France, and Japan?
Well, I think it's easy to say. It's two words. It's clean energy, and the third word would be leadership. We need U.S. leadership. You know, these elections have consequences. What you see in the United States is 2014 to 2016, we had leveled off in terms of our emissions. Now it's starting to creep up again. You're seeing that China and India are also increasing their emissions because they're so heavily reliant on coal. And part of the challenge that we had to face was the U.S. needs to help and work with other countries. We need to stay in the Paris Agreement. We need to continue to reduce our own emissions through regulations and other market forces. We have to do our part to be a legitimate player internationally to drive these reductions down. Frankly, we have no leadership in the United States right now in the federal government. We have a challenge to move issues forward in Congress. The only good news that's not discouraging is that a lot of change is happening, despite the fact that we have a president who is withdrawing from Paris, who's trying to roll back rules, and is actually denying climate science.
So on the other side, you've got this Green New Deal sponsored by Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Senator Ed Markey. It was put up for a show vote in the Senate. I want to play a little of what Majority Leader McConnell said.
The proposal addresses the small matter of eliminating, listen to this, eliminating the use of all fossil fuels nationwide over 10 years. Get rid of it all. This might sound like a neat idea in places like San Francisco or New York, the places that the Democratic Party seems totally focused on these days, but the communities, frankly, everywhere else would be absolutely crushed.
So President Trump made some sort of reference like this last night in Michigan. Republicans seem to be painting this issue as a ploy from urban Democrats to appeal to urban voters. But you say that across the country, we're actually seeing leadership from places like New Mexico and Wisconsin at the state level to deal with climate change.
Absolutely. You know, the Green New Deal brought a lot of energy to the table, a lot of positive momentum. You have young people engaged, but you have states engaged. In New Mexico alone, they just signed a bill, Governor Lujan there just signed a bill to actually achieve zero in 2045, going to clean energy. We're looking at the same ideas in other states like Wisconsin, and we are seeing change happen. 23 states are part of the U.S. Climate Alliance who have agreed to continue to push to achieve the Paris Agreement. You have cities and towns all over the United States stepping up, doing what they can. We have young people that, like, look at Greta Thunberg. She has energized the world. And the reason why they're so concerned is climate change is about our health today. It's about our safety. It is about our future. Americans are understanding that it's about them and their families, and they are starting to step up. Polling shows that the vast majority of people in this country actually want action on climate. Why? Because they're feeling it today.
It's real.
You saw
Not
it,
50
Ali. You
years.
saw all of the things happening.
Well,
and so 62 million.
You have to be buried, your head has to be buried in the sand to think that this is 50 or 75 years away.
So we can be discouraged, but we can't stop acting, and we can't stop looking at all of the great change in energy that's happening. We have solutions. We have to keep driving forward.
Gina McCarthy, I appreciate the time you always take to make us a little clearer on this. Hey, MSNBC fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down there and click on any of the videos here to watch the latest interviews and highlights. You can get more MSNBC for free every day with our newsletters. Just visit msnbc.com/newsletters to sign up now.